Hi, Kate. Hi, Bruce.
Hello.
Hi.
Good.
Good. Thank you so much for spending a little time with us today. I know our customers know us very well, but I think it's a good opportunity that we introduce ourselves and let our social media following know who we are and who the people are that brought us Barrie Harley-Davidson, a place we know and love. So thank you for that. If it's okay, we'll just ask a couple questions today about how you guys met and how the whole thing came to be, really.
Sure.
Yeah, awesome. How did you and Bruce meet?
Well, I started working fresh out of high school at the District of Muskoka, and Bruce that was way back in '75. I know I'm dating myself, but Bruce had already been there since '72. So we met at the municipal government.
Awesome.
And got to know each other. We started dating in August of 1980. I remember it well.
Awesome.
And we got married in June 1982. Still married, just to clear the record.
Awesome, fantastic. Anything to add, Bruce, on the first meetings of Miss Kate?
No,
Swept him off his feet.
Yeah, she swept me off my feet. Yeah.
No, I invited him to a corn roast at a staff party, and he never went home.
Oh, nice. Nothing like a good old corn roast. That's awesome. Perfect. And then so with that, I believe it would have been Bruce that introduced you, Kate, to motorcycles and essentially the Harley-Davidson lifestyle.
Well, my parents had two girls, and my dad was not an enthusiast. And back in those days, the motorcycle groups around weren't exactly friendly, had some really bad reputations. So of course the dad said, "You're not riding a motorcycle." You know, and as the years went by and stuff, of course with Bruce, then it kind of introduced with the Harley. Not so much the Triumph he had, but with the Harley, and got to know the group up in Muskoka. And Dad, I know, is pretty proud at this point.
Oh, I believe it. That's amazing. Oh yeah. And Bruce, do you remember taking Kate out the first time on the back of your bike?
That Triumph. I felt like I was going to fall off the back of it.
Yeah, it was fun. Just to be clear, her parents really didn't like me very much.
Oh no.
So it took a while.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I've had my share of mishaps, but when I'm carrying a passenger, I've been fortunate. I've managed to avoid it. So I didn't scuff her up or hurt her in any way, and they probably appreciated that. So.
Absolutely. What was your first Harley-Davidson motorcycle that really got you kind of fired up for the culture?
Well, my own. I've been riding English bikes pretty much since I turned 18. Crashed them a lot. Thought I was all good, and got onto English bikes, and don't you know if a car didn't hit me. So when I finally decided to go and get into Harleys, I ordered a 91 FLHS, which is an electric glide sport, and we rode the wheels off that one. And it was only around for a couple of years, and I think I sold it with 50 or 60,000 kilometers on it, and we got an Ultra, and we've been on Ultras ever since. So yeah, it was fun. I only ever rode one 74-inch electric glide back in those days, and that sold me from there. I had to get a big highway bike. So, and I was a teenager then, and I took a lot of guff from all my pals that, you know, they called them geezer glides, but yeah, I've always liked the big highway bike. I like that whole setup.
Awesome.
And guess what? Any of the guys that I started to ride with, if they're still riding, guess what they're riding now?
I've got a pretty good idea.
So I just got onto it a little earlier than they did. That's
awesome.
all.
Just starting the trend. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. My next question is a fun one, and one I just love to hear the history about. Bruce, you and a few friends at the time bought Barrie Harley-Davidson, and then Kate came on board afterwards. So just, if you could speak to that, like what that was like. Your husband comes home and he's like, "Hey, I'm buying a Harley-Davidson store with my friends." I mean, that must have been something, eh?
It was a partnership, and it wasn't like I came on board. I worked a full-time job elsewhere.
That's right.
And worked at nights doing the bookkeeping and keeping that store up.
Wow.
When we bought the original store, it had no computer.
Holy
So we
smokes,
had to bring a computer system in. There was all of that.
Amazing.
everything to do with that. So yeah, he can speak to the actual day-to-day while I did the other job.
Right.
I didn't come on full-time as an employee.
Right.
I was just a volunteer spouse.
Gotcha.
Employee until January 2006 when we moved into this building.
Wow.
And I gave my notice just before Christmas in 05. I've been there 31 years at the District of Muskoka. It was an emotional time, but they work with them. And I stay in touch with all those people. They're all curious about the bike thing. I was the one who always rode the Harley work.
Amazing.
But I'll let Bruce speak to the actual startup.
Well, the startup happened by accident, really. We had a customer that was enamored with Harley-Davidson and decided he was going to buy a dealership and hire all of us to go work for him. That kind of didn't pan out, and we were very disappointed. And then one day this guy said, "Oh, why don't you guys buy it?" So we did.
Yeah, we hawked everything, put everything, you know.
Wow, amazing.
Mortgage upon mortgage on the house.
Yeah, holy smokes.
We were the last ones to get in that way, and at the time Dealey was still the distributor in Canada. And there were a lot of roadblocks thrown up. Every time we get past one, they'd throw another one. So we just kept doing it, and we had good people that wanted to see us succeed. So it was a group effort, not just the group of original four, but we had other people involved, probably half a dozen, not the least of which was Dave Heaney, who used to own Barrie Harley-Davidson. He wanted out almost as bad as we wanted in, and he really helped us along. So I'm forever, my gratitude is with Dave Heaney first and foremost, and it was, he helped us a lot.
Incredible.
I can remember sitting on the curb, literally on the curb at the old store on Bradford Street, you know, the Dairy Queen across the street. And I said to the group that was there, I don't think they realized it, but you know, I'm Barrie North grad. I'm from Barrie. My dad had a store here in Barrie. And I'm sitting on the curb and I said, you know, I remember going in my jammies with my grandparents to the Dairy Queen to get ice cream.
Amazing.
And I said, what is the odds of it, you know? And to this day, even though we love our new store, well, I shouldn't say new store, our existing store, we miss being next to the Dairy Queen.
I would say, especially the summer we had too.
Oh yeah.
Holy smokes. And then let's speak to that a little bit too. So occasionally I'll go down Bradford Street, and the shop now, the old shop, is divvied up into two businesses. But I think about that also, and then I see this store, and I'm still blown away, even after being here for 4 years, that you went from that and then you made this beautiful store behind us. So I guess the question is, that must have been a bit of a whirlwind, eh? Like to go from there, you ground up built this place, and that must have been quite the experience.
Well,
I remember
Bruce and Dave, you guys did the design and worked mostly with that. I mean, remember, I was off doing the government job.
Yes, gotcha.
But when the shovel went in the ground,
Nice.
I took a 3-month leave of absence from my work,
Wow.
put my pink hard hat on,
Nice.
and I came down and I supervised all the other stuff, making connection with the contractors, because it got to that point where he had to keep our other store going. Remember, we needed the money to keep the other store going. So, you know, computers and furniture and even the fixtures, all of this stuff. And as it was released to us, and yeah, it was something else.
Oh, I believe it. Incredible.
Yeah, we were pushed to this location. Dealey's under pressure from the motor company. That was the big thing back then, and it still is. They want dealerships on main thoroughfares, and even though we had an opportunity to acquire more property where we were, they weren't interested in maintaining that location. So when we came here at that time, back in '97, it was tough to find commercially zoned property that faced the 400. We just lucked out with this lot.
Wow.
And it happened to accommodate a basement.
We wanted
very
a
well.
basement. We didn't want to go up. We wanted to go down.
Awesome. Okay. Oh, and I can only imagine that probably came from having the old store, needing because you said
We
there
had
was
no
a big
storage.
We put we spent thousands putting a mezzanine in the old store so we could have some storage capacity, and
Incredible.
it worked very well. So now we've got over 16,000 foot main floor footprint, but directly beneath that is a 16,000 foot basement. So we keep all our motorcycles on site.